Hi, I am Sunil Mahabal, and after completing the series What Industry Expects from New Joiners, I was started another series and I welcome you in that series. And the series is on electrical engineering. I have tried to make it as simple as possible and also enjoyable by adding the experiences which I got in the total service of 41 years. The title of the series is How It Works. When we pass from road or by train or by whatever means, we see many things which puzzle us and how it works. For example, the transmission tower. We see it many times. So at times the thought comes in our mind that how it works. Then transformer we may see on the pole, the electric current which is received by the locomotive by the pantograph through the pantograph, the fan which works, then the mobile charger, then the AC, and the question remains how it works. So I tried to launch this series, and through this series I wanted to make it very simple. It will not be very boring or it will not be a theory like. You will definitely understand the concept. But while I was thinking about it, there are a lot of thoughts that came to my mind. And it is like this, that to explain big important concepts in simple words and with simple practical daily life examples for the people who are curious though not very serious. So this is what I thought, one of the thoughts, that we have to explain it in a simple words and with simple practical daily life. Then secondly, if you are already pursuing career in electrical engineering, this series may not help you in scoring good marks, but will certainly make you a discreet electrical engineer. I am using this word discreet in a Samasdar electrical engineer because during my service of 41 years, I have conducted many interviews, and there I found that the electrical engineers, qualified electrical engineers, are also not aware of many things which they should actually. So that actually encouraged me to do this. I will narrate two incidences and then go forward to next point. In one of the interviews which I conducted while I was in Madhya Pradesh, I asked that student who was a fresh pass out. I asked him that the sockets and plugs you are seeing in this room, what is the specification of the electricity that is received? So he gave me the correct answer, 230 volt and 50 hertz. But then just to ensure that whether he is aware of the concept, I asked him, ki, okay, we are sitting in Madhya Pradesh in the middle of India. So how much frequency do you think will be in Uttar Pradesh or Bihar or Srinagar? So he told me, he thought for a while and then he told me कि उत्तर प्रदेश बिहार में सर 70-75 के पास तो होगी. अच्छा, मैंने कहा ठीक है, फिर हाउ मच इन श्रीनगर विच इज़ द फारदेस्ट पॉइंट ऑफ इंडिया? बोले वहाँ पे हो सकता है 80-85 हर्ट्ज फ्रीक्वेंसी होगी. मैंने कहा ये तो ज्योग्राफी में घुस गया अब. तो आई आस्क्ड हिम द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन दैट ओके हाउ मच इट विल बी इन केरला एंड तमिलनाडु. तो पूरा इंडिया का मैप उसके सामने से गुजर गया 1 मिनट में और उसने जवाब दिया कि इन केरला तमिलनाडु इट मस्ट बी 10 or 15 hertz, 230 volt, 10 or 15 hertz. So that is the pathetic answer given by a qualified electrical engineer. That is not expected. You will get the correct answer when you go through this series. But you will have to go through the entire series for that. Then next, another incident. When I asked a fellow that when the overhead wires which we see on the transmission towers, why the uh, birds sitting on those wires do not receive shock? If we touch the wire, we will be charged to death. Then why? the bird sitting on the or the wire doesn't receive shock. So the answer he gave me was कि उनके जो पैर होते हैं उनके in their feet they have insulation and therefore they do not receive the shock. So that is how the answers are given. So that is not expected. You will get the correct answer. And the third thought behind launching this is that while watching these videos, you will get many references which you can never find in textbook. What is the reason? Because they are my own experiences which I got in 41 years. So in short, this is how it is, and therefore I have launched this series. So the today's topic is electricity. So this question, if it is asked to you, how you will answer? What is the answer for this question? So I have tried to explain. But before we go to that, we will have to understand the structure of atom. This is the atom. And if you break anything into pieces, the last thing you will find is atom. Everything and anything is made out of atom. Atom is a building block for the entire universe. Whatever you lay your hands on, it is made up of atom. This table, this chair, this bulb, this tube light, AC, this water bottle, mobile phone. If you disintegrate it and go to the last particle, that will be atom. And every atom has a different structure. So where it differs? In the nucleus as well as in the electron. So the nucleus, the central part, carries proton and neutron in it. In blue color protons and in red color neutrons. And the black colored balls you are seeing rotating, revolving rather, are electrons. So they keep revolving around the nucleus, which is at the central location. So like sun, around which everything revolves. The earth also revolves around sun. So this is a family. The electrons revolving around the nucleus. So you can, in a way, you can say it is a family. The nucleus is the parents and the electrons are the children. So that is how it becomes a family. And why I have told this, that this is going to have reference in further slides. Okay. So remember that atom is in itself a family, parents as well as children. Now electrons are negatively charged. If you talk about electricity, like हम अगर बैटरी देखेंगे तो बैटरी में भी एक पॉजिटिव होता है एक निगेटिव होता है. So electrons are negatively charged and protons are positively charged. Now if you see the number of electrons and number of protons, so number of protons is equal to number of electrons. And therefore, the atom itself is neutral. The atom itself is neutral because electrons are, the effect of electrons, negative electrons is nullified by the positive protons. So the any atom you take, it will be neutral electrically. It doesn't have any charge. Now you must be wondering कि अगर मैं किसी चीज को split करता हूँ, so what will remain ultimately? Will we be able to see it in microscope? So in microscope also you cannot see it. They are so tiny. So I will tell you their weight and volume and all. So 26.3 grams of iron contains 284,000 atoms. You can imagine how tiny they will be. 26 grams only. And if you take weight of an electron, it is 9.11 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 31. So it is almost like God. If you want to believe, you believe, otherwise you cannot believe. Don't believe. It cannot be shown to you. If you want to believe, believe it. It cannot be shown to you. So the weight of the electron is 9.11 multiplied by 10 raised to minus 31 kg. So they are so tiny that you cannot even feel it. Leave apart seeing it. You cannot even feel it. So that is how the structure is. Now in detail I will tell you the structure. This is how the nucleus is. How much protons and neutrons are there? They are in the nucleus. Then there are orbits. If you have ever cut a onion, you will find layers after layers. So similarly, if this is the cut section of the onion, you will see different orbits. And there is a definite number which any orbit can carry the electrons. The number of electrons in any orbit is fixed. It cannot change. For example, in this particular picture, you are seeing the first orbit carries only 2 electrons, and that is also known as K orbit. Then the second orbit, it is known as L. It can carry only 8 electrons, not beyond that, or not less than. It can carry less, but it cannot carry beyond. So if you go further, the third orbit, M, it can carry 18 electrons. And if you go on adding the layers, in this particular atom, this is the atom of copper. So in this particular atom, there is only 1 electron in the last orbit, because if it has total number of electrons as 29, then in 18 plus 8, that is 26 plus 2, 28. So 29th electron, it will be in the last orbit. So the orbit is not complete, because how much it can carry, that is given. And this last orbit is also called valence band. Aluminum has 3 electrons in the valence band. And beyond 4, it is mostly non-metal. All the metals fall within 4. That their outermost orbit can have electrons less than 4. And if it goes beyond 4, then it becomes non-metallic. So what is the formula? We have known that first orbit can have 2, second orbit can have 8, third orbit can have 18, and fourth orbit can have 32. But in this particular example, the fourth orbit has only 1 electron. Now what is the formula? 2 into n square. N is the number of orbit. So first orbit, if we say 2 into 1 raised to 2, that is 1 square. So it is 2. For the second orbit, it will be 2 square, that is 4. Therefore 2 multiplied by 4 is equal to 8. Similarly, for the third orbit, 18. Fourth orbit, 2 multiplied by 16, that is 32. And fifth orbit, 2 multiplied by 25 is 50. So these many numbers only an orbit can carry. It can be less, but it cannot be more. And this last orbit is called valence band. Okay? Next. And these electrons, they keep revolving around the atom non-stop. Non-stop they will be revolving continuously around the nucleus, which they are related with the analogy of sun and earth and parents and children. Okay, so they will be revolving like. We have seen the atomic structure of copper. I will show it again. It has 29 protons and 29 electrons, and the last orbit has 1 free electron in it, 1 electron only. So it is not creating bond, because for creating a bond you need at least 2 electrons to create a bond. So if you notice all the orbits, they have even numbers only, and all the even numbers, therefore they form the couple, and they are bounded strongly. They have a strong bond between them. But in copper, if we see, there is only 1 electron in the outer orbit. So with very small potential difference also, it will start moving, because it is negatively charged. So it will get attracted towards positive charge easily, and it can easily move because it is anyway not bonded properly in the family. So it will move. Next is insulator. If you look at the structure of the neon, which is a best insulator available, there are only 8 electrons in the outer orbit, and that is precisely the number for outer or second orbit. So if you have 8 electrons in the second orbit and 2 electrons in the first orbit, then obviously all the electrons will have perfect bonding in them. There will be perfect bonding, and you will need lot of voltage or not lot of energy to knock them out of the orbit. They will not easily go out of the orbit because they have perfect bond. So this is known as insulator. It doesn't have free electrons. Therefore, electricity cannot pass through insulator, and therefore there are so many insulating material like wood, paper, mica, plastic, bakelite. There are so many things available in nature which are like insulator. But then there is a limit to what extent they will not leave their family. Unless and until you increase the energy, if you give them, supply them lot of energy, it might be electrical voltage or electrical or heating. If you provide lot of energy to them, then ultimately they get dislodged from their atom, and then they are free to go anywhere. I will give you one example. That glass, it is well known that it is an insulator. But if you supply a lot of heat to the level that glass melts down, then it becomes conductor. That is what I was saying. That the electrons will not be knocked down easily. But if you apply a lot of energy, then even from insulators, you can make the electrons move to other atoms and they will become conductor. And in between them, conductor and insulator, there is semiconductor, which behaves like insulator sometimes, and in another condition, in one condition it will behave like an insulator, in another condition it will behave like a conductor, and therefore they are very useful. They are useful to the human being and widely used in electronics. So electrical study is incomplete if you do not talk about electronics. So some knowledge you will also get about electronics, but it will of course be not very deep but on the surface. So you have understood now that there are conductors, insulators at the two ends of the graph, and in between there is a semiconductor which is at times insulator, at times it behaves like conductor. And now a very interesting analogy with this conductor and insulator. So the children where the parents are not very caring and very loving, if they belong to such family, then they are waiting for the opportunity to move out from the family. That is how the conductors behave. There is one extra free electron in the copper which makes it such a good conductor. Even the gold and silver atom has one only electron in their outermost orbit, that is the valence orbit, and aluminum has three. So wherever the bondage is weak, the children will try to move. So they belong to families where parents don't take care of the children. And if you belong to a family where the parents are very caring, very loving, then children don't like moving out. They do not go out easily. They will have to apply efforts. You will have to apply efforts for them to move out. That is how the insulator behaves. Therefore, current doesn't easily pass through that insulator. But of course, similar to that electrical analogy, that if you apply major force, if you put in your efforts, ultimately the student or the children from good families also give up and move out of their home. So it is extreme pressure they experience extreme pressure, they move out of the family. It is just an analogy, don't take it otherwise. Just in order to make you remember this thing forever. Where all the insulators, semiconductors and conductors have been shown. For example, rubber, glass, wood, dry air, they are all insulators. They are from good families and they don't allow the current to pass through them. But semiconductors, silicon, germanium, with some efforts, you can move the electrons from here and there, from one atom to another atom. And conductors, the electrons are very much available for free movement. water, carbon, mercury, iron, aluminum, copper, silver, they have less number of electrons in the outermost orbit, less than 4. Therefore, they are good conductors. Now, here in the examples below, that any external influence will repel the electrons. The electrons will start flowing, and the current will be established. So copper's valence electrons move freely throughout the solid copper metal, and therefore copper is a good conductor. Here also it is written that metals tend to be poor parents of their outer or valence electrons, and they are just out wandering in the neighborhood. That is what is written here also. So ultimately, what is electricity? That electricity is the flow of electrons around a circuit from negative to positive. Now you will wonder that since your childhood, in your school days, you have learned that current flows from positive to negative. Then how we are saying that electrons flow from negative to, that is true, because I have told earlier that electrons are negatively charged. So negative will be repelled by negative. So the negative side of the battery will repel electrons, and they will flow, they will get attracted towards the positive. So electrons flow from negative to positive, whereas current flows from positive to negative. This concept I will explain in my next video. Till then, thank you very much for listening it carefully. And if you like this video, then press the like button, and of course subscribe it, because there are many videos going to get launched on this particular channel. Have a good time and take care.